I don't even know how I missed this, but apparently yesterday was International Men's Day. And with every piece of my being, I love men. So I just wanted to send you a little message. I know how I missed it. I'm writing a book, so I'm literally typing for the entire day, but we're going to talk about that later. So how I got to know that it was International Men's Day was by a post. This lady writes this massive post on how she honors the divine masculine in all of us. And it's really time for the divine masculine and the divine feminine to come together in sacred marriage and bring everything to fruition. Now, I've spent the first 24 years of my life running very masculine energies through my system. So from the bottom of my heart, the best thing you can do to honor the masculine is learn its language. Because masculine essence people do not respond to that type of language, that type of vocabulary well. So your message is not even getting through to them. Now, when I say essence, I mean sexual essence. And that has nothing to do with gender, with sexual identity, with sexual orientation. It's purely the quality of the electromagnetic frequencies that are running through your electromagnetic biofield, whether they are more base magnetic, a more pulling in force, base electric, a more pushing out force, or a unified current, which we like to forget about. There are 3 creation currents, and this unified current has the quantum potential to have both of the polarities, none of the polarities, and each of the polarities at the same time. So we are already unifying those energies in all of us, and we each have the capacity to run any of those frequencies at equal amounts. Again, first 24 years, I've never been a tomboy, but I've always had a more masculine way of thinking, feeling, expressing myself, looking at the world. So although I'm looking at the masculine from a feminine experience, from a feminine perspective in society, I do think that I have a quite well-balanced ability to switch between those currents and feel the differences, how they make me feel, how they feel when they are running through my biofield. Now, I've spent the past year and a half in a very feminine state, and for the past month-ish, I'm getting back my masculine. I speak different, I think different, I feel different, and it feels fucking awesome. Because most of the things, like, okay, so that was one of the things that I was just somewhere in the back of my mind. I'm just going to say hi, but 20 minutes later, I'm still talking. When I look at these hashtag movements of liberation and emancipation and all that business, the sentiment is right. We do have thousands of years of historical built up grievances, oppression. But the way we are trying to counteract those happenings, those forces, are not really solutions to the issue. When we are fighting for peace, we are still fighting. When we are shouting about how we've been silenced, I don't believe that we are bringing harmony and collaboration to the table. I think we are bringing a larger and larger divide between the parties. Because the people who are living on the planet right now, they are not responsible for the thousands of years. We as a society have never been this interconnected. We have never had this much ability to communicate with each other, to understand each other, to exchange information, and therefore to explore our own multidimensional self, our own different qualities, different flavors of masculine and feminine energies within us. It was a couple of days ago, a male friend of mine, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to butcher this. He says, the most hurt females on this planet are the ones that are living inside man. So true. I mean, I love working with men when those are the most beautiful experiences of my life. When after a 10-minute conversation, men start crying, sobbing in my arms, be like, I've never been allowed to be sad. I've never been allowed to be angry. Because the way we are looking at the differences between masculine and feminine energies are still very much antagonistic, like they were supposed to be pitted against each other. And we were supposed to be looking down on the other half of the planet just so that we have the expression, the freedom of expression. Now, most of my best friends are males or masculine essence people. And we don't drink beer and watch the game because I don't do any of those things. And they have other friends to do those things with. So when we get together, we talk, we laugh, we cry. I do most of the crying, but they cry sometimes. And we do cool shit together. And I love them for it. I love you guys for it so much. So there is nothing inherently aggressive in man. There's nothing inherently tyrannical in man. But we have so many translation issues between the feminine and the masculine essence. When they're faced with conflict, the feminine is internalizing conflict because it's a base magnetic energy. It's pulling in. When the masculine is faced with conflict, it externalizes the conflict because it's a base electrical. It's in a pushing out and out picturing energy. So their conflict resolution from the outside look very different. And when we are agitated, historically, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I feel so much for the masculine energy because historically, the masculine energy has been just as much bastardized by institutional forces, just as much bastardized as the feminine energy. Because for beings who understand multidimensional physics and who are using other beings to gather their energies from, it is so much easier to excite a base electric outpicturing energy so that it pushes energy into its own energy field. It saturates its own energy field with quantum. It's so much easier than to excite a base magnetic force and then siphon that extra created energy. So the masculine has been agitated physically, sexually, emotionally for thousands of years without a healthy outlet. And when the two get into conflict, they express themselves very differently. So from the outside, the masculine might look more violent, but trust me, the feminine is just as internally violent as the masculine can be. We are just expressing it through different outlets. So, long speech. So, all the masculine people in my life, all the masculine essence people in my life have allowed me to feel safe, have fun, be adventurous by their naturally protective qualities. They made me feel safe. And I hope we made each other feel safe. Because they don't get to express the vulnerable feelings inside them without being called this and that. So I encourage a communication through understanding and through translation. when we talk about unification, when we talk about a sacred marriage between divine masculine and divine feminine, and I have used those terms in the past, and I do apologize for using those terms in the past, because I was not aware of the public discourse around these terminologies. This type of language alienates masculine essence people so much. So the best thing you can do for the masculine people in your life is learn what actually resonates with them. Learn how they translate the world. And have discourses from your own very distinct point of views. Unification should not be annihilation. It should not have the complete extermination of differences. We should not flatline. We are different. We are equal. And unless we learn how to communicate through our differences, not without our differences, we're always going to feel that we're not fully self-expressing. So, from the bottom of my heart, all the men in my life, thank you for your innate kindness, for your innate care, for your strength, your wisdom. That's your gift. You can give so much to the world. And speak up about how you feel. Speak up about how this new way of, one more 2 cents. There's a very interesting thing going on in the media nowadays when certain forces became very clever about linguistic programming. Phrases such as toxic masculinity is programming your subconscious mind to antagonize the masculine. Now you can say there's toxic feminine existing, blah, blah, blah. Just if you have a single masculine being in your life that you respect, I encourage you to stop using the word toxic and masculine in the same sentence altogether. End of 2 cents. So, to the masculine people in my life, thank you. Your genuine, natural, masculine qualities have given me so much. It allowed me, it enabled me to be more feminine, to be safe in my femininity. And it gave us so much fun because being masculine is fucking fun. So, all of you out there, I fucking love you. Let's get together soon.